From the very dawn of creation, a cryptic whisper echoes through the sacred texts, challenging our understanding of humanity's earliest history. Deep within the ancient scrolls of Genesis, a singular, arresting verse, 6-4, speaks of an enigma that has haunted theologians and seekers for millennia. There were giants in the earth in those days. Who were these colossal figures, these Nephilim, whose very presence seemed to warp the fabric of the nascent world? Their mention is fleeting, yet profound, a tantalizing glimpse into a pre-Diluvian era shrouded in mystery, hinting at a hidden narrative far grander and more unsettling than conventional interpretations suggest. This is not merely an archaeological quest into forgotten lore, but a spiritual excavation into cosmic truths, revealing a lost chapter that profoundly shaped humanity's destiny and the divine judgment that followed. Our journey commences in the antediluvian world, a landscape now buried beneath eons of time and sediment, yet vividly preserved in the echoes of ancient prophecy. Imagine a pristine earth, still bearing the fresh imprint of its creator, where the boundaries between the celestial and the terrestrial seemed dangerously permeable. It was a time of innocence, yet also of immense spiritual vulnerability, where the divine order faced its first great challenge. This era, often dismissed as mere myth, was in fact a crucible of profound spiritual drama, a stage where cosmic forces converged, leading to an unprecedented transgression that would forever alter the course of human evolution and ignite the very first sparks of divine wrath. Yet, beneath the familiar narratives of Scripture, a deeper, more unsettling truth concerning these giants awaits discovery. For too long, their story has been relegated to the realm of simple folklore, their symbolic weight diminished by literalistic readings. But what if their existence points to a profound spiritual breach, an unholy union that distorted the divine blueprint for creation? To truly comprehend their origin and purpose, we must turn our gaze beyond the mainstream canon, towards revered yet often omitted ancient texts, once cherished by early believers and profoundly influential on the very writers of the New Testament. These forgotten manuscripts hold the key to unlocking this monumental secret. This profound revelation centers upon a group of celestial beings, known in these ancient scriptures as the Watchers. These were not mere mortals, but heavenly entities entrusted with safeguarding the divine order, who, in an act of breathtaking defiance, descended to earth. Seduced by earthly beauty, they abandoned their sacred charge, mingling their divine essence with human depravity. This forbidden union, a cosmic act of disobedience, did not merely produce beings of immense physical stature, it unleashed a torrent of spiritual corruption, twisting the very essence of humanity and setting the stage for a world full of violence. Here lies the true genesis of the Nephilim, the grotesque fruit of unchecked rebellion against divine decree. The genesis of the Nephilim, born from the forbidden union of celestial watchers and human women, is not merely an isolated incident recorded in ancient Hebrew texts. It is a profound spiritual breach whose echoes reverberate across the foundational myths and early histories of countless civilizations, suggesting a memory far deeper and more pervasive than mere coincidence. Imagine the lingering shadow of this colossal transgression, cast across the nascent world, subtly reshaping humanity's understanding of its origins and its relationship with the divine. This hidden truth, though often distorted or allegorized, speaks to a universal human consciousness, grappling with the presence of extraordinary beings and inexplicable catastrophes in a time before the deluge, a time when the boundaries between realms were terrifyingly permeable. For ancient Israel, entrusted with the sacred narratives of creation and divine law, the memory of the Watchers and the Nephilim was not a forgotten tale but a crucial component of their spiritual heritage. Within their oral traditions, and later the veiled verses of Genesis, this story served as a stark warning against spiritual corruption and the dangers of mingling the sacred with the profane. The very brevity of Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, "There were giants in the earth in those days," suggests a truth so fundamental and understood by its original audience that little elaboration was needed. It was a shorthand for a vast, underlying narrative, a profound theological statement about the purity of God's creation and the devastating consequences of cosmic rebellion, preserved in the very bedrock of their faith. Beyond the fertile lands of ancient Israel, whispers of similar themes emerge from the sands of Egypt. Here, the pantheon of gods frequently interacted with mortals, sometimes begetting demigods or powerful pharaohs believed to possess divine lineage. While their mythologies do not explicitly recount the Watchers' rebellion, they are rich with tales of primeval chaos, powerful beings, and a constant struggle to maintain cosmic order against forces of disorder. Could the Egyptian narratives of powerful semi-divine rulers and the blurred lines between heaven and earth be a distorted, localized echo of the broader antediluvian drama? It is as if the memory of a time when the divine walked among mortals, with both benevolent and destructive consequences, permeated the very fabric of their cultural and spiritual understanding. Further east, in the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia offers even more striking parallels. The Epic of Gilgamesh, a hero of immense stature and part divine parentage, speaks of a pre-Diluvian world inhabited by beings of extraordinary power, culminating in a cataclysmic flood that cleansed the earth. The Babylonian accounts, etched into clay tablets, frequently depict powerful demigods and mythical creatures, whose very existence challenges the conventional boundaries of nature. These narratives, emerging from a culture that profoundly influenced early Israel, suggest a shared historical memory of a time when beings of unusual origin walked the earth, and when divine judgment brought an end to an era of widespread corruption and violence. As we journey westward, the ancient world of Greece and Rome also resonates with these primal themes. Their mythologies are replete with titans, beings of immense power who predated the Olympian gods, and heroes like Hercules, Perseus, and Achilles, born from the unions of gods and mortals. These demigods, often possessing superhuman strength and prone to both great feats and grave flaws, bear a symbolic resemblance to the Nephilim. While the specific theological context differs, the underlying narrative of celestial beings intermingling with humanity, producing powerful, extraordinary, and often destructive offspring, suggests a deeply ingrained human memory of a time when the divine and mortal realms were less distinct, and the Asulai consequences profoundly shaped human destiny. Yet it is in the often overlooked Book of Enoch where these scattered whispers coalesce into a clear, detailed account. This ancient text, revered by early Jewish communities and profoundly influential on New Testament writers like Jude, acts as a spiritual Rosetta Stone, unlocking the profound meaning behind the cryptic verse in Genesis. Enoch meticulously details the descent of the Watchers, their unholy oath, their forbidden unions, and the birth of the Nephilim. This wasn't merely a historical record, it was a revered source of spiritual insight, offering a comprehensive understanding of the origins of evil, the nature of angelic rebellion, and the divine judgment that followed, making it an indispensable key to the deeper mystery. The spiritual implications of the Watchers, rebellion, and the subsequent birth of the Nephilim are immense and far-reaching. This was not just a physical aberration, but a profound spiritual contamination that distorted the divine blueprint for creation. By mingling their celestial essence with human depravity, the Watchers introduced a new, insidious form of evil into the world, a corruption that permeated not only the physical realm, but also the very soul of humanity, leading to the great wickedness and violence that ultimately provoked the divine judgment of the flood. It was a cosmic act of defiance, a spiritual war waged on earth, leaving an indelible scar on the antediluvian world and shaping the trajectory of human spiritual history. Thus, the story of the Nephilim and the Watchers, preserved in the sacred memory of Israel and echoed across diverse ancient cultures, transcends mere myth. It stands as a timeless spiritual testament, a stark warning against the dangers of spiritual compromise and the profound consequences of rebellion against divine order. The giants of Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, revealed through the lens of forgotten texts, become more than just colossal figures. They are potent symbols of the enduring struggle between cosmic purity and corruption, reminding us that certain truths, however inconvenient or long hidden, refuse to be silenced. Their legacy, woven into the fabric of ancient history, continues to illuminate the profound spiritual battles that shape our world even today. The profound mystery of Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, speaking of giants in the earth in those days, has long cast a shadow of unanswered questions over humanity's earliest history. For millennia, seekers and scholars have grappled with its cryptic brevity, sensing a deeper narrative obscured by the veils of time and selective transmission. But what if a forgotten yet foundational text holds the unequivocal key, not merely to speculation, but to a vivid, detailed account that was once central to early Judeo-Christian thought. Our journey now leads us to this very source, the Book of Enoch, a manuscript once revered, quoted by New Testament apostles, and profoundly influential on the ancient world's understanding of cosmic order. It is within these hallowed pages, unearthed from antiquity, that the true origin of the Nephilim and the cosmic drama surrounding them is finally, breathtakingly unveiled. Enoch reveals that these giants were not simply a product of natural human variation, but the grotesque offspring of a monumental transgression by celestial beings known as the Watchers. These were angels entrusted with safeguarding creation, who descended from their heavenly abode upon Mount Hermon, binding themselves by an unholy oath to defy divine decree. Seduced by the daughters of men, they abandoned their sacred charge, choosing earthly lust over spiritual fidelity. This deliberate act of rebellion, a cosmic violation of the highest order, speaks to a perilous moment when the boundaries between the celestial and the terrestrial were not merely blurred, but violently torn open, unleashing an unprecedented wave of spiritual contamination upon the nascent world. Yet, their transgression extended far beyond the forbidden physical union. These fallen watchers, in their arrogance and defiance, began to impart forbidden knowledge to humanity, secrets of metallurgy, the crafting of weapons, the art of cosmetics, the arcane mysteries of astrology, and the dark practices of sorcery. These were not gifts of enlightenment, but corrupting influences designed to accelerate human depravity, pulling mankind away from its divine potential. The innocence of the antediluvian world was shattered, replaced by a burgeoning wickedness and an insatiable lust for power and pleasure, sowing the seeds of chaos and violence that would ultimately provoke divine lament and judgment, irrevocably altering humanity's spiritual trajectory. From these unholy unions, the Nephilim were born, beings of immense physical stature, whose very existence was an affront to the divine order. These hybrid giants, part celestial and part human, possessed insatiable appetites, consuming all that humanity produced, and when resources dwindled, they turned upon humanity itself, devouring flesh and shedding blood indiscriminately. Their presence on Earth was a palpable manifestation of cosmic discord, a monstrous embodiment of unchecked rebellion and spiritual corruption. The world became a battleground, not just for physical survival, but for the very soul of humanity, with these colossal figures serving as living monuments to a sacred trust betrayed. The cries of a defiled earth and an oppressed humanity did not go unheard. As the world teetered on the brink of complete spiritual annihilation, the desperate pleas of men and the groans of the very ground itself ascended to the highest heavens. The archangels Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, witnessing the profound corruption and the suffering it wrought, interceded before the divine throne. This pivotal moment underscores the cosmic scale of the Watchers' transgression, revealing that their rebellion was not merely a local incident, but a breach that reverberated through all realms, demanding a definitive response from the Creator to restore balance and justice to a world steeped in profound wickedness. The divine response was swift and uncompromising. Judgment was pronounced upon the rebellious Watchers. Enoch vividly describes their apprehension, bound in chains of darkness, cast into the abyssal depths of Tartarus, there to await the great judgment. This act of divine justice reveals the unwavering commitment of the Creator to cosmic order and purity. It sends a chilling message across all realms that defiance against divine law, particularly by those entrusted with sacred stewardship, will not go unpunished. Their imprisonment stands as an eternal testament to the severity of their crime, a stark warning against the seductive allure of power and the catastrophic consequences of spiritual compromise. But the judgment extended beyond the Watchers themselves. The Nephilim, their monstrous offspring, were also condemned. Being born of spirit and flesh, their physical forms perished, but their disembodied spirits were destined to roam the earth as malevolent entities, the very genesis of what we now understand as demons. This profound revelation explains the ancient, pervasive belief in unseen forces of darkness, forever seeking to corrupt and mislead humanity. The cleansing flood, therefore, was not merely a physical deluge. It was a cosmic reset, a spiritual purge designed to sever the corrupted lineage and wash away the physical manifestations of this profound spiritual contamination, allowing for a new beginning. Thus, the Great Flood, often viewed solely as a cataclysmic physical event, is unveiled in Enoch's narrative as a profound spiritual cleansing. It was a divine act of sorrowful necessity, a surgical severing of the corrupted ties between the celestial and the terrestrial that the Watchers had so grievously forged. While the earth was reshaped, humanity was given a chance for spiritual renewal through Noah, a man found righteous in a generation utterly consumed by violence and wickedness. This cosmic judgment, while devastating, underscored the Creator's unwavering love for His creation and His steadfast commitment to restore purity, offering a path towards redemption and a renewed covenant with mankind. The story of the Nephilim and the Watchers, once a hidden truth, is far more than an ancient tale of mythical beings. It stands as a timeless spiritual testament, a vivid parable illuminating the perennial struggle between cosmic purity and corruption. It reminds us that the battle between good and evil is not merely a human construct, but a profound spiritual reality with ancient roots. The giants of Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, unveiled through these forgotten texts, become potent symbols of the enduring spiritual warfare that shapes our world, beckoning us to recognize the subtle ways in which ancient corruptions can manifest in contemporary forms, challenging our vigilance and faith. Understanding this lost chapter of cosmic history empowers us, for to comprehend the roots of spiritual corruption is to gain clarity in discerning its manifestations in our own lives and in the world around us. The wisdom of Enoch, once obscured, now shines a light on the profound importance of upholding divine order, cherishing purity, and resisting the seductive allure of compromise. In this ancient narrative, we find not just a warning, but also a profound call to spiritual vigilance, reminding us that true peace and enlightenment emerge when we align our lives with the eternal truths revealed through the divine tapestry of creation and sacred history. The unveiling of the Watchers, rebellion, and the genesis of the Nephilim is far more than a mere recounting of ancient events. It is a profound spiritual illumination, a beacon piercing through millennia of shadowed understanding. This narrative, once obscured, now shines with the clarity of dawn, revealing the intricate tapestry of divine order and the devastating consequences when cosmic beings choose defiance over fidelity. It speaks to a universal truth, that sacred boundaries, when breached, unleash forces of chaos that demand purification and renewal. The story in Enoch is not just history. It is prophecy unfolded, a blueprint for understanding the persistent struggle against spiritual corruption that has plagued humanity from its very inception, offering a renewed perspective on the profound sanctity of creation and the unwavering commitment of the divine to its purity. What, then, does this ancient drama truly signify for us today? The Nephilim, those colossal figures of old, stand not merely as physical giants, but as potent symbols of every corrupted system, every towering injustice, and every pervasive evil that casts its shadow upon our modern world. Their story is a stark reminder that spiritual transgressions have tangible, often devastating, physical manifestations. Just as the Watchers' choices warped the antediluvian landscape, so too do our collective choices. Our compromises with integrity and our embrace of fleeting desires contribute to the giants of our own making. This ancient lesson compels us to look beyond the surface, to discern the spiritual roots of societal decay, and to recognize the profound interconnectedness of our actions with the cosmic order. In a world often overwhelmed by anxieties and moral ambiguities, the rediscovery of this narrative offers both a sobering warning and a profound source of hope. The fear that grips humanity when confronted with overwhelming forces of darkness, with inexplicable suffering and systemic oppression, finds its ancient parallel in the terror of the antediluvian world. Yet the story also assures us that the cries of the oppressed do not go unheard, that divine justice, though sometimes slow, is ultimately unwavering. It fosters hope by revealing a creator who actively intervenes, who sets limits to chaos, and who, even in judgment, provides a path for redemption, proving that no darkness is absolute, and no spiritual battle is fought without ultimate divine oversight. The cleansing flood, therefore, emerges not merely as an act of destruction, but as a testament to divine mercy and the promise of renewal. It was a cosmic reset, offering humanity a fresh canvas upon which to paint a new destiny, free from the direct contamination of the Watchers' lineage. This act of purification underscores the theme of redemption, reminding us that even after profound spiritual breaches, there is always an opportunity for restoration, for a return to divine alignment. It illuminates the enduring power of free will, both in the Watchers' catastrophic choice to rebel and in Noah's righteous decision to obey, revealing that our individual choices hold immense weight in the unfolding tapestry of spiritual history. This ancient wisdom calls us to an elevated state of spiritual vigilance. The subtle infiltration of forbidden knowledge by the Watchers, designed to corrupt rather than enlighten, serves as a timeless warning against deceptive influences that promise power or pleasure at the expense of our spiritual integrity. In an age saturated with information, much of it misleading, the ability to discern truth from falsehood, to distinguish genuine spiritual guidance from corrupting doctrines, becomes paramount. The light cast by these once-hidden manuscripts empowers us, equipping us with the clarity needed to navigate the complexities of our modern world, to identify the giants of deception, and to safeguard our spiritual purity. To align our lives with the eternal wisdom revealed in these ancient texts means actively choosing purity over corruption, integrity over compromise, and divine order over chaos. It beckons us to examine the giants within our own hearts and minds, the unchallenged prejudices, the unbridled desires, the spiritual complacency that can subtly erode our connection to the sacred. Just as the antediluvian world required a cleansing, so too do our individual lives and collective societies require continuous spiritual purification. This understanding offers a profound path to inner peace and societal harmony, guiding us to build foundations of righteousness that withstand the storms of spiritual warfare, echoing the Creator's original blueprint for humanity. As the echoes of ancient prophecy resonate through time, we find a transcendent peace in this newfound understanding. The mystery of Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, once a source of theological perplexity, transforms into a profound revelation, illuminating the enduring cosmic struggle and the unwavering presence of divine justice. The flickering candlelight of ancient temples and the silent wisdom of desert scrolls now converge, offering not just historical insight, but spiritual enlightenment. This journey through forgotten truths leaves us with a sense of profound clarity, a tranquil assurance that the forces of chaos, though formidable, are ultimately subject to a higher benevolent order, and that the path to spiritual renewal is always open. Thus, the saga of the Watchers and the Nephilim, resurrected from the depths of antiquity, culminates in a powerful message of enduring hope and spiritual empowerment. It is a timeless parable, reminding us that while darkness may gather, the light of divine truth will always prevail, ultimately restoring balance and justice to creation. We are left not with fear, but with a profound sense of peace and awakened understanding that equips us to face our own giants with courage and conviction. This sacred knowledge, once hidden, now empowers us to walk a path of vigilance and alignment, forever connected to the eternal wisdom that underpins the entire cosmos, inspiring us towards a life of greater purpose and spiritual harmony. Our journey through the veiled corridors of ancient history, guided by the whispers of forgotten texts, culminates not in a mere intellectual understanding, but in a profound spiritual reorientation. The saga of the Watchers and the Nephilim, once a cryptic shadow in the periphery of sacred scripture, now stands illuminated, not as a distant myth, but as a foundational narrative woven into the very fabric of cosmic order. It reveals that the unseen realms are inextricably linked with our own, and that choices made in antiquity continue to echo through the corridors of time, shaping the spiritual landscape we inhabit. This grand tapestry of divine justice and redemption reminds us that every act, whether of rebellion or obedience, resonates across creation, underscoring the immense significance of our own spiritual vigilance. We are called to perceive the world not just through the lens of the visible, but with an awakened awareness of the profound spiritual currents that perpetually flow beneath the surface, guiding us towards a deeper appreciation of the divine blueprint. This ancient narrative, far from being a relic of a bygone era, offers potent wisdom for navigating the complexities of our contemporary existence. The giants of old, born of cosmic compromise, serve as eternal archetypes for the towering challenges we face today, the systemic injustices, the moral compromises, the spiritual apathy that can subtly erode the foundations of our societies and our souls. To understand the origins of such ancient corruptions is to gain a clearer lens through which to discern their modern manifestations, providing not just historical context but a profound spiritual toolkit. It empowers us to recognize the insidious allure of forbidden knowledge and superficial power, guiding us to anchor our lives in eternal truths, to cultivate spiritual discernment, and to champion purity in a world often saturated with distortion. This sacred knowledge becomes a compass, directing us away from paths of spiritual peril and towards a life rich with purpose, integrity, and divine alignment, transforming ancient echoes into living guidance for today, profoundly impacting our choices and our spiritual fortitude. As our journey through these profound truths concludes, we are left not with questions but with a tranquil sense of awe and profound gratitude. The ancient texts, once silent witnesses to a forgotten past, now speak with a resonant clarity, affirming the unwavering commitment of the divine to order, justice, and the ultimate redemption of creation. The flickering candlelight of discovery illuminates not just the hidden corners of history, but the depths of our own spiritual being, inviting us to embrace a life imbued with greater awareness and reverence. May this sacred knowledge linger within you, a quiet echo of eternity, fostering a profound peace that transcends earthly concerns and inspiring a continuous quest for truth. In this quiet moment, may you find yourself connected to the timeless wisdom that underpins all existence, resting in the serene certainty of divine oversight and purpose.